Hey everyone. Hello. Um, ooh, Hi everyone. Welcome back and welcome in general. And yeah, I hope you had a wonderful week. Um, and that you're having a great day and so on. I unfortunately am not having the best of days. I'm not feeling my best, so we might have to cut things a bit short. We'll see. But yeah, but I really wanted to do today because I'm actually hey Peggy, because I'm actually going to have to take a break in the next couple of weeks. I have an event that I have to prepare to, and there's a lot of work, and something has to give. So I won't be able to do the lives in the next couple of weeks. Probably be back on April 21st, but I'll keep you updated. And anyways, so today we're going to do the windows for the study that we're working on. So yeah, I'll do the split screen. There it is. So we're basically going to work on this wall just because all the rest of the walls will be pretty much the same. So, and this one is a good example, and it's easier to show because it's one wall with all the windows, unlike the little corner that is rounded and has kind of windows on different little platforms, so to speak. So, um, so let's get to it. Yeah, I'll move to full screen on the table and we'll talk about it a bit. Um, so basically what I'm going to do with this is, if you look at this one, this wall is from the parlor and you can see that it's basically the wall that will be on the same one above the other, right? So this is the second floor or this is the third floor, basically. And we're going to build these frames that you can't really see. I'll put it on the white so you can see. Look at that. No, it's visible. Useful. So we're going to do these frames. And basically what I'm doing is actually building them using Tim Holtz dies from the Village collection. This is a combination of each one of the, I don't know if you'll be able to see exactly. Focus. Please focus. Come on. Here, Kara. I don't know if you'll be able to see. Let's be honest. It's supposed to be glued well enough, so like a puzzle piece that you don't really see the difference. But maybe now, if you look here at the first one, you'll be able to see that it's actually two layers. It's like one on top of the other. So what I did, I'll bring the dice and I'll explain it a bit. So in the Village collection, you have all of these wonderful window dies that have different different types of frames and so on. Now I will say, so the fact that I can use these dies in this project is actually pure luck because I didn't have the dies at the time. I'm not even sure if they were out at all when I started. So it's pure luck that the size fits. But it happens to, so of course I'm using it. And I will say that, for future projects, I will definitely utilize these things because they do allow you to create very, very thin frames. And I'll show you, I have a whole tray of, I should have used one with color, but all of these frames are for this project because what I found when I was measuring, and I used the measurements on the windows in the parlor, but basically all of the windows in pretty much all the windows in the house are the same size. Definitely these ones are identical, so I know that it would work. And what I found is that if I use this die here, bring it up, this one here, that basically cuts a relative, I don't know if it's maybe it's more than 2/3, I feel, but less than 3/4. But there's a big section and like small sections at the top, right? If you look, that's what it cuts, right? And basically what I'm going to use is only the big part, the larger, not half, larger part, yeah? And that's, if I use that 4 times, then I get the size of these windows. So we'll do 1 or 2 of these windows, and then maybe we'll talk a little bit about the curtains. And yeah, let's see. So for these frames, what I'm using, yeah, so like was said, for each of the windows, I'm going to use 4 of these die cuts. And I'm gonna, yeah, I'll work basically on the white part here because I think you can see better. It's useful. And the frames were cut from this wood grain paper. It's been a while since I used it. If you weren't around when I was talking about it, this is the one I'm using now. It's the Wood Veneer Collection cardstock. It's basically a 1 millimeter wood. Yeah, wood veneer with paper backing. One of the things that I like about this specific brand is that, as you can see, the backing is in craft, which means that if you look, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but basically, because the paper that I used in the beginning, the wood paper that I used in the beginning had white backing, and that meant that I had to go over all of the frames all around because I would have a white line at the back. But now, because it's craft, I don't need to do that anymore, which is, useful. It removes one step, which is always cool. What yeah, I mean, it is a little bit paler, but than the color I'm using, but not in a way that is really distinguishable. So what we're going to do is basically you take each one of these and you cut sort of here in the middle, right? The reason that I'm leaving these pieces is because I want to have extra support when I'm gluing things together. And you can see, I hope you can see, if I put it on my hand, you'll be able to see maybe. Oof, it's very hard to, but yeah, you can see that they fit together perfectly. Well, it moved, so nothing more, but they fit together perfectly. And having these tiny leggies, shall we call it, give extra support to that part. So actually, I'm going to just cut all of these. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, now I think that I might need to kind of play around with one of them because, again, this is not planned. So it's not actually a perfect fit. I'm going to cut one of them perfectly, like make a straight line like this. So, so I'll be able to play a bit more. And in this case, I am going to use the Nouveau Deluxe glue. This, yeah, I've used this one a lot, so it's been, it's a little squished. The reason that I'm using this one is because I did, as you can see on this piece, I did add a little bit, I did put some, what did I use? Mod Podge. I used Mod Podge. It's the Mate Mod Podge, but it does add some shine, like varnish to the wood. And because of that, I want a glue that is actually a little bit shiny, so more than the Collage Medium Matte. Also, I often find that when it comes to these fiddly things, Collage Medium Matte actually dries too fast for me. I like to be able to fiddle around with things and make sure they sit exactly as I want them to. So we put the glue, and now we just kind of slide it to place, basically. The main thing is, yeah, you want to make sure that the lines at the sides fit perfectly, continue, that you have straight lines for the windows, basically. If you have a little bit of the bottom frame like peeking through, you can always kind of take your scissors and chop it so it's not visible anymore, except it doesn't want to go away. Just a second. Wizard, come. Sometimes these needle pixels just needs a little bit more, I don't know, convincing. Yes. I'm gonna chop this off and just grab it. There we go. Just kind of using the tip of my tweezers to make sure it's all straight. And let's go to the next one. Oh dear. Okay, that's way too much glue. Oopsie. That is what you call a glue explosion. Okay, so we are adding the next one. And this time I'm trying to set it up better so I don't need to do all kind of fixing with the scissors, and this does look good. And now, let's use this part. Now is the point that you kind of need to make sure that it actually fits. And you'll see that actually this part is a little bit too long, right? It's by 1 millimeter, so not a lot, but it is a little bit too long. So that means, just a second, that what I'll do, hope you can see what I'm doing and that I'm being clear. Let me know if you have any questions. If you're watching this on replay, also let me know if you have any questions. So yeah, basically, I'm just making sure, checking exactly where I need to cut it. And it's really barely a millimeter. I'm gonna just grab my pencil for a second here. Oop. That's caught in there. So yeah, I just want to place it exactly where I want it. And I will try to do the marking here just to see. Yeah. So basically, what I'm going to do is cut it until there's really just a teeniest sliver of the connection line, like this. And in this case, I'm actually going to use a toothpick because this glue is bursting out there. In this case, what's going to glue things together, I mean, yes, there is this little sliver of a connection there, but the most of it is going to be on top of basically those connection lines. And just making sure that it's straight. And before it dries on me, just checking again. And yeah, that is the perfect size. Hey, Dawn. Hello. How is Utah today? Is it sunny? Is it stormy? Okay. So you can see now this is the perfect fit. Now we have two choices. We can either, so basically, I could, sit down, like make all of the windows according to yeah, all of the other windows, according to this one. But because this is all hand cut, and you know that, well, at least my hand cut things are never perfect. So I actually prefer to fit the frame to each opening. A medium day, not hot, not cold. Oh, that is a win. That sounds lovely. Yeah, we're starting to have temperature rising again. We're expecting heat waves, and I am so not up for that. I do not like heat. So, yeah, but today wasn't too bad, actually. I'm glad you're having a good day. So, yeah, okay. So let's just put this frame in place, and then we'll do another one. So to glue it, we'll just, yeah, put the glue all around. And again, I don't know, I think that I've had this bottle upside down on its top. Yeah, held it upside down or something, and it's running. So I'm just kind of being a little careful with it. Don't mind a little bit over on the glue, as you know. But in this case, it will be visible, so I don't want it to be too crazy. So just making sure that that we have glue. One of the things, if you are familiar with, if you are working with the Deluxe glue, one of the interesting things about it is that it does dry quite fast, but not super fast. But it does have this interesting stage that basically, if you let it actually dry for a few seconds, it doesn't dry completely, and it's sort of like the grip becomes stronger. And it's very useful when you're trying to if you want to glue something very thin like this, and you don't want to have too much oozing, because what will happen is that it's kind of, like the outside sort of dries a bit, and because of that, it wouldn't ooze, but it's still super glue, super, super glue, super strong, and will stick very nicely. So sometimes, yeah, when working with this glue, it's nice to actually give it a couple of seconds to sort of dry a bit. Yeah, and then it kind of catches beautifully. So that's one window frame. It sits very nicely. Oh, well, I don't actually living in the desert. Oh, well, actually, yeah, I live in the, like, next to the desert, sort of. My climate is almost desert, but not entirely, because there's still enough rain for it not to be considered desert. So we're somewhere in the middle, I suppose. But it's really funny because, like, like 40 minutes drive for me, they get snow every year. Obviously, I don't. But it's like, yeah, you know, keeping it interesting. The weather is keeping it interesting, or trying to. Once we reach like June, like May, June, it's just like, and it's hot, and it's still hot, and it's hot again. Okay, so to repeat the stages of making the window frames, again, we're using these four die cuts, basically, um, yeah. And we're actually only using the long part. So we're cutting off the short parts. And since we've seen it from the one before, we already know that for three of them, we'll leave this little, now that I look at it like this, it looks a bit like a crown, right? Like a leave three tiny little leggies that will hold the next one. Ah, okay, same, Don. I'm familiar. It's really cool. Okay, so second one that we leave a little crown thingy. And then on this one, I'm going to cut it down to a tiny sliver, like we did in the last one. And this one, I'm going to cut it straight. So it's basically looks like it's, you know, one like so the width here fits the same as here. So it can end the frame nicely. Okay, now let's see if the glue will attack us again. But we'll just connect these guys. Yep, it's attacking. Thankfully, we have toothpicks to save us. There we go. Also, it does dry completely clear. It's glossy, but in this case, because I do have a sort of a pretty glossy varnish-like, I guess, finish to these pieces, then it looks good. Even if there's a bit of an ooze, it dries and it will not be visible. Okay, first two parts connected. Let's do the next one. And yeah, see, I have like this bubble. It's just dripping out. So I'm just gonna, maybe I'll put it in the screen so you can see what I'm doing. But basically, yeah, I'm just using the tip of a toothpick to pick up some glue and just spread it here. And this time we'll take this one that has a very thin line at the bottom. Nope. And just kind of, you know, to test it, to make sure that it fits as well as I want it to. I'm just placing it here to test it. And I can see that, yeah, it's gonna work nicely. So, trying to escape, not nice. Yeah, so taking some glue with my toothpick. We're gonna glue this last one. And we can actually place it on top where we're going to glue it, on top of the opening, to make sure that that it reaches the edges nicely, that it sits well, and I am happy with it. So we can just glue it all down. Okay, I don't know what is up with this glue today. It is exploding out of the bottle, which is not what you're supposed to do, glue. but that's okay. And I'm just, yeah, using the toothpick to, oh, to spread glue all around the frame. And yes, now I just need to turn it over so I can put glue this side as well. I think. Yay. There we go. It is funny because this glue has, the bottle has a very nice fine tip. So I usually can. I don't usually need to resort to toothpicks. Let's put it this way. Okay. And I'm giving it a second or two to, to dry a bit so it will be easier for me to glue it down. It's especially also because if you remember the material that I used for the wallpaper here is actually fabric. And fabric is always a bit more tricky to glue than paper. So just, using all the tricks I have to make sure that it's glued down, that it sits right, and that it will not budge. Okay. Just pressing it all into place all over. And yeah, we're good, I think. Just a second. Cleaning the tip here so it wouldn't get clogged or anything. Good. So I think I'm gonna, those are the ones I'm gonna do during this live. And it's really cool to see actually when you compare just how much this detail of the frames adds to the window and makes it so much more, realistic and with character and all the good stuff. So happy. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about the curtains. So I'm going to do the curtains similar to what I did in the parlor, but a little differently. If you recall, in the parlor, I decided to use a fabric, and in this case, I'm going to use something else, I think. We'll talk about it in a second, but the first thing I'm going to do, so the curtains are going to hang above, let's put it on the white part so you can see better. I wonder if I can, yeah. So I have this piece of chipboard here that I am going to, that's going to be at the top. We're going to cover it in a second with a decoration piece, but this is at the top and the curtains are actually going to come from that. So this piece is going to be covered with a trim, this trim that fits with the trim that we have at the top of our library. So as I mentioned last time, it's actually going to be all around the room, the same trim, only that above, next to the windows, we'll also have curtains. Now for the curtains, what I'm actually planning to use is tissue paper, but I had an idea and I think it's working and we'll check. But basically, what I did, and I'll just show you. So this is, the full piece of tissue paper. I'll just cut another piece that is full sheet. I'll just cut another sheet that is the same size because I wanna, I don't know if you'll be able to kind of catch it. But okay, so this is the regular tissue paper. And this is the one we're going to use. Can you hear the difference? I hope you can hear the difference. I can definitely hear it. And what I did is basically I took a piece of just black tissue paper, very normal, and I spread it with Distress Refresher. Now, this is basically a trick that I've seen the Tim Holtz does with, I think he showed it mainly with his leather texture paper, because then you can kind of play with it and give it even more of a texture. But the idea is, so if you're not familiar with Distress Refresher, the idea of it is it's basically resin fluid with resin. I'm not entirely sure what exactly it has in it, but I know that it's mainly that the main point of it is that it has some resin in it, and because of that, when you add it to things like an ink pad or a marker or even the mediums and stuff. Hey Stacy. Ooh, very windy in Michigan. Okay. Nice. I think. I don't know. Is it nice to have the windy wind? I hope it's nice wind. Anyways, Distress Refresher is basically meant to refresh, I don't know, how do they call that? Distress products. Yes, distress, like water-based products can be refreshed and kind of not brought back to life, but yeah, if it's completely dry and dead, it's dead. But if they're a little dry, this helps them. And it helps them partly because it's not just water, it has resin in it. And what that means is that when you spray it on paper, then the resin just it makes it more flexible. Now, this is still completely paper. Well, especially in the edges where it's not fully got the, yeah, see, I don't know if you can hear it. Like if I'm tearing it up here, see how quiet it is? That's because there's resin in it. And what this means is that I can play with it. It just makes it a lot more resistance to kind of playing with it. If you've used tissue paper, you know how let's just call it delicate. It can be very delicate. So the idea here that is that I can now use this for curtains. And I don't need to worry about it kind of tearing up too much. And I just realized that I didn't bring the stamp I was planning on. Okay. I'm going to have to run off for just 1 second and bring the stamp. Just a second. I'm sorry. Be right back. There we go. Because we want some pattern on our curtains, and I would like to have some damask on it. Now, I was originally thinking of stamping it with white, but I actually feel like trying some reddish color. Let's see how it works. I'm gonna try it and use either aged mahogany or yeah, I think it's actually the same pattern that I used for the curtains in the parlor, but hey, you know what? And it's actually the same pattern on the wall, but again, you know what? It's okay. I think. Okay, let's just cut a piece that I can work with. And we'll start, playing with it, see how it goes, because I haven't actually done this before. I've never worked with, tissue paper with the Distress Refresher. I've done it with a lot of other things, and I have worked with tissue paper in a lot of things, but yeah. So when I spread it, I definitely didn't spray it that evenly, so I'm just taking the more middle parts. And let's see. So the curtain needs to be, I'm checking the length, the height, length, either. Yeah, so the curtain needs to go from sort of this area to the pretty much the floor. I'm gonna cut it to basically to the height of the wall, and then remove the excess if needed. I just want to know that I have a piece that is definitely long enough, so I'm just gonna use the wall itself. I'm gonna just mark it gently and then cut it. Cool. Okay. Yeah, it's not probably cut it straighter, but hopefully that's okay. Let's see how it goes. I'm just going to use, I think I'll use H mahogany. And we'll see what that looks like. So I'm actually, instead of tapping my ink, I'm just running it because I don't want it to be perfect. I want it to be a little bit off at some places. I see that all the way to the end here. So that's a way to create kind of, a distressed look, basically. And yeah, with stamps this size, and especially with something like tissue paper that can be a bit tricky to stamp on, also because I crinkled it, then this is, I find, the easiest way to stamp. Basically the opposite of what you're supposed to do. There you go. Have a nice pattern here. And I might heat dry it a bit, heat set it a bit, because I do want it, because I want to continue working. I don't want to wait. I'm impatient today, apparently. So I'm gonna use my tool a bit. I'm actually gonna grab it with my tweezers and hope it doesn't fly away. Yeah. Ah, a little tricky here. Yeah. So interestingly enough, as you can see, it stamps beautifully, but it is definitely not the dark color of aged mahogany. It's pinkish, but I think it works. Let's see. What do you think? Maybe I should. Okay, guys, what do you think? Should I go back to just black curtains? I think I might. I don't know if this fits. I don't know. But yeah, also, if we start working on it, the idea is that we will basically fold it over itself. And this is why I wanted the ink to dry, because the folding will definitely coolness. Okay, pattern it is. Yeah, because when I'm doing these foldings, it can definitely destroy the stamping. So that's why I wanted to make sure that it's dry before I do that. I will say, okay. There you go. So basically, yeah, it would be something like that. And yeah, I do like that. I try to actually, I'm trying to decide if I'm destroying the pattern or not, but I think it's okay. Yeah, I would have liked to hold it even more narrow, but I guess it's okay. Do you more folds like this? Now the idea with using tissue paper for the curtains is for two things. One, I do like the fact that it actually has some transparency to it. So if we have, light coming from, well, light coming through the window, you can have like some of the curtain a little bit open or some of it closed, and have this kind of feel that, well, just, have some light coming through. But also, because as we discussed, I believe, I want this floor to actually be a little bit more, don't want to say destroyed, but definitely feel more like, ooh, something happened here and it wasn't good. I think this about happened. Let's do a bit more. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna just this in the middle. So we'll have two parts of the curtain. Yeah, for both sides of the window. Okay, hold. Yeah, and because of that, and I feel that with this kind of material, it'll be a lot easier to create this kind of, things that are maybe torn, not complete, not feeling good, not looking so good. But yeah, this will be our curtain. And I think that what I'm going to do in this case is actually utilize the fact. So I'm going to, like I said, this is going to actually be here at the top, and it will be covered with a trim. But or the reason that I haven't glued these down yet is that I can actually basically glue this curtain, the top of the curtain, to this base thing, and then and then add the trim on top to hide the less pretty part. So we'll do that. The only thing I'm going to do is go over the edges of this, and you'll see that I'm going to go with a brown marker, and then I'm going to also go with a black marker on top of it with just a little bit. And that's because I couldn't find any, or maybe I don't have a dark brown alcohol marker. I'm not sure. But alcohol markers blend beautifully, and if you put them one on top of the other, basically yeah, if I'll add the black, just a bit of it, it will actually just become dark brown. It will not become necessarily black, which is nice. And that kind of will hide the fact that it's not full wood, or at least, or blend it with the wood. I don't know how to call it, but that will create a nice edge for all of this. I'm actually probably going to go with the brown marker over everything, all of it. I don't know why. It just makes me feel better, even though I know no one will ever see it. But yeah, you know, to each his own. Um, so yeah. So I'll just add this bit more early and just color the whole thing. Why not? Does not hurt. There we go. Okay. So this goes right here on top. And the curtain, the thing is that because this is a paper, can kind of squish it down to glue it. We'll do this in a sec. So, okay. Like I said, also, this is the first time that I'm trying this specific technique, so forgive me if I'm being a little bit uh, weird in how I'm doing it, but yeah, let's see. So the idea here is try and just grab it with tweezers. Maybe, no, wait. Ooh, squishing it a little bit. Try to do it on the white part. Hopefully you can sort of see what I'm doing, but honestly, I'm just trying to squish it down in a way that it would still look good. So if this is approximately the width that I want the whole curtain to be, then we can, yeah, again, I'll try to just put it on the white part. Sorry about the crash sound. So if this is here, and I'm putting the curtain like this, and this is approximately the width that I want it, I can try and kind of squish it down here. Still think that, yeah, I can still fix these parts. And where I'm squishing it right now, obviously, this is where the glue will be. I'm just kind of holding it down with my finger to sort of prepare what I want it to look like. And then we'll just add the glue. Yep. So we can just pick it up. Put on some glue here. And put this back on. And that's about it, I think. I mean, once the glue dries completely, we can add something that will grab the curtains in the middle. We can let them drop. And the beauty is that, again, because this is essentially, you know, this is in the end tissue paper, I can also make holes in the middle very easily. All of the things that you can usually do. And I think that that would create, in the end, a much more realistic curtain. Partly because, again, this is a matter of scale. This is a very small scale miniature. There are smaller, but it's a small scale miniature. And because of that, when you use fabric, the density of um, not density, the size, basically the size of the stitches of the pattern can be it's very hard to find something that is small enough. Okay. And this, like I said, will be the trim that I'll add afterwards to kind of hide how I glued down the curtains. So it will look nicer. I'm gonna try and do the second one quickly. We are kind of running out of time. But, let's just try and finish this. So, just folding it. And I will say that this is definitely a lot easier to do than the fabric that I used last time because it's paper. It might be harder to convince it to, I don't know, stay in a specific kind of, yeah, with the folds and everything, but we can find ways to do that, or I don't know. But I feel like this is actually working out pretty well, which makes me happy. I hope you agree. And I hope that you're liking this idea and that you might find it useful for your own projects. Okay. Um, yeah, I'm gonna cut this here. Just to have this nice and more or less straight. Okay, that is not straight at all. Maybe I should use the small one. No, just okay. I just need to actually be able to reach it. That's all. There we go. Let's pretend it's straight. Okay. Now I actually want to try before, I glue anything. So this is supposed to go here, right? And I actually want to see what happens if I tear it up a bit. So to tear it up, I'm gonna just choose my craft knife and try to kind of go, ooh, yeah, because I'm trying to kind of, okay, in and, ooh, ooh. So I want to turn up a bit, but I don't want to tear it up completely. So let's see. If I pull it down like this nicely, just put this in. And I might then just tear this one off. And the idea would be that maybe even, if we glue this like this and you can see that this part is torn, then the torn parts, thank you. Oh, thank you, Khan. Yeah, that's sort of the idea because I know I've been struggling with um fabric a lot of times for these size of things. So that's yeah, the tissue paper seems to work. So if I glue it like this, so it's almost like, you can actually put it a little bit open, right? Like the curtain, well, open. Closed, actually. Curtains closed to cover with the window. And then I keep these pieces and they will be on the floor. And I do like that idea. So let's kind of adjust this. And this opening here, by the way, is a marking of where the fireplace is. I'll put the fireplace down for a second to see where I want the curtain to end. So I want it to be here and then opens a little bit over the window. We'll kind of play with it a little bit before I glue it down. Again, the tweezers were really useful for these parts. You can kind of, yeah, press down the top to see that it's actually sitting. Oop. And then adjust everything with the tweezers to see to where you want it to be. So we'll do that just a second. And I want it to be here. Up. And then just press down a bit more with the finger to squish it. And I think we're good to glue. So I want this to be clear that this part is missing here. So now, before I put the glue, I just I make sure that this little trim at the top is in the right place, so I know that that I'm putting the curtain in the right place, because it will be a little bit difficult to move after I glue it down. Okay, so this is this, and now we just pull these ones a little bit so it's a bit more open. And of course, because this is paper, it will be a lot easier to kind of play around with the 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 lines of the curtain to see that it sits exactly where I want it to be, which I think will be good. I think I might have this one actually tied to the side a bit, just to kind of accentuate the fact that this one is open and torn. But I'm not sure. But yeah, basically, this will still have the trim on top to kind of hide this, but I think, obviously it'll be a little look more stable when it's finished and glued down, but you can see what it looks like. And yeah, I think that's coming out pretty cool. I hope you agree. Yeah, don't cut myself. No, no. I always try not to do that. But thank you. So yeah, so that's I think that will be it for today. The rest of the curtains will basically be the same idea. I'll use the same the same materials, the same techniques. And of course, we'll also have the window frames to add to all around. Once I'll do that, I will post a picture of it and everything. So yeah. Now, like I said, I will be taking a bit of a break now, for 2 weeks, I think. Because um I have an event that I need to get ready to, uh, a um, a fair that I'm participating in, and there's just a lot of work that I need to finish. So unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to do the lives. But yeah, but then we'll come back and we'll do some more. We have some more stuff to do in this study. Or we can, yeah, we'll have some more stuff to do in study. We also have there's some other projects that I want to do, that I'm planning to get back with. So we'll see exactly what we're doing. If you have any, I don't know, any preferences or requests, would you like to see the desk being made, or I don't know, or would you prefer to jump around to another project and come back to it later? I was kind of thinking of doing working on the study a little bit more and then doing another project. But up to you guys as well. If you feel like something else you want to skip around, that's cool by me. And that's it. Oh, okay, coolness. So yeah, so thank you so much for joining me yet again. Keep an eye out for the for posts. I will give you an update when I'm coming back. The plan is basically to come back on April 21st, I believe it'll be the Thursday. So yeah, so I'm taking 2 weeks off and then coming back, unless something happens, but that shouldn't be a problem. And yeah, keep your eyes out for updates. I will let you know, but otherwise, have a wonderful rest of the day, a wonderful week, and a wonderful time until I see you again. Thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, bye for now.